Hi everyone, and welcome to session number 4. As we're looking at session 4, the two major areas of focus are organizational structure and accountability, as well as strategic planning and change leadership. So we're going to be looking at your role as a leader within those two contexts and looking at our healthcare organizations and even beyond, as far as looking at healthcare as a very complex and adaptive system, and each and every organization is a complex and adaptive system. So those are important constructs to consider as we move forward. So let's take a look at our session. So as always, we have our session content, and I have guided lectures for you for both chapters 6 and 7, hopefully to provide you a little background information as you're reading your books as well. And also very important resources for you are some resources here for looking at the strategic planning process and a roadmap for success as far as 10 steps for nursing strategic planning. So let's move on. Within our video clips, there are a couple of resources that you'll find to be very helpful and enlightening as well. So really take a look at the fatigue webinar video, and also looking at what strategic planning really entails. I wanted to take a few minutes just to go through your assignment, and you will be developing an audio-visual presentation, and you will be highlighting one of the standards from the American Nurses Association Scope and Standards of Practice for Nursing Administration, and you're going to be looking at the specific standards listed on the rubric. And know that your audience, it actually entails nurse managers. So your focus is to help nurse managers to understand the standard that you have chosen. So that's a really important component of this assignment. You may choose your method of delivery, and make sure that you're providing at least 10 slides, and that's above and beyond the title slide and the reference slide. And please know that you need to actually have citations on the slides, and you also need to have your reference list at the end of your presentation as well. So make sure that you use recent references and choose your references wisely, as far as those scholarly, peer-reviewed references are the most desirable, and those that are within the last 5 years are very important as well. And as you're progressing in your presentation and developing your presentation, so make sure that you clearly introduce the standard that you've chosen, and you're going to develop measurable objectives, and I want to hone in on measurable. Make sure that we know how you're meeting the objectives, and that you're presenting information that allows your audience to meet that objective as well. So make sure that you read everything very carefully as far as the rubric, and make sure that you meet all the guidelines within the rubric. And I usually suggest using the rubric as a checklist. So as you review your presentation, make sure that you've met all the points within the rubric and just check them off as you go. And make sure that if you're using speaker's notes, that you use proper grammar when you're doing the speaker's notes. Make sure that your citations are appropriate within the speaker's notes as well. You can do a voiceover where the speaker notes are not required, but you need to do a voiceover in a professional manner. And if you use a voiceover, make sure that you cite what you're saying on the slide as well, meaning just like you cite on, within the context of your paper, you need to cite on the slide as well. So make sure that your presentation is organized and it follows a good flow. Make sure that you conclude. Do a summary of your presentation at the very end, and that's a really good time to include how you're meeting your objectives. Maybe you could introduce a discussion session, or that there will be a post-evaluation. However, you're going to measure how your objectives were met. And as I've already alluded to, make sure that the citations are in APA format, and make sure that punctuation and grammar is correct, and make sure that your slides are not too busy. Use those common principles for developing a presentation, and make sure that you're using at least 2 references in addition to the ANA Scope and Standards of Practice. And just because I'm saying 2 references, that doesn't limit you to 2 references. You most certainly should and could use more than 2 references as you're doing your presentation. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to run past some topics, that's fine too. But I want to make sure that this is a positive experience for you, because this assignment helps you to dive deep into a particular standard, and also allows you to build your skills as far as public speaking or presentation skills, which is a critical skill for leaders. And that's something that we're hearing from our advisory boards, that they really want to have master's prepared nurses that have effective presentation skills. So keep that in mind as well. Then to finalize this announcement, we're in our discussion board, and just remember to be very interactive in your discussions, and you've done a great job as far as adding questions in the context of the concepts and materials that we're covering in our sessions, and keep those very vivid discussions going, and let me know if I can do anything for you. Take care now. Bye-bye.